Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It has been a minute since I dropped a pre-recorded video. This one I've been hanging on to for almost, a week, maybe a little less, I don't know. Shout out to Wolf and Beta Clothes for sending me this video. I'm sure many of you have seen it already. This is a video that is on World Star Hip Hop. I wasn't able to snatch it, but I did put the link to this video in the description. It's either going to be in the description box or it's going to be pinned in the comments so that you guys can watch it. You please watch it so that you can understand the context of what I am saying. And I know I've made a couple of videos entitled How She's Made, which is turning into a little bit of a series because I'm trying to chronicle for you guys how the modern black woman is created. She is created in her home, in her childhood home, okay? She is created as a child, all right? And this video illustrates exactly the commonality of these events in the hood that help create these women that as an adult the men deal with and don't understand why the women behave the way that they do. Much of it is nurture against nature. She is being nurtured in a dysfunctional way, and therefore if she's being given this program as a child, it is very difficult for her to re-socialize as an adult and understand what she's supposed to be doing as an adult. So the dysfunction actually follows her pretty much all of her life unless some other intervention or some other knowledge comes to her that she accepts that actually will re-socialize her. So in this video, there's a mother and daughter arguing, okay? And the mother, who is an old strag, okay? She's an old thought. She's an old used strag thought that ain't got it no more. And she's doing what we all know that a lot of these hood mothers do, which is compete with their daughters, okay? And here's one thing that I want to point out. These kinds of women not only damage their sons, okay? They damage the son in a different way. The daughters do not get love, okay? So people may be under the misconception that only the sons are getting damaged, but the women love the daughters and treat the daughters well. No, the daughters are rarely treated well. We are pushed, we are belittled, we are berated, we are degraded, we are not loved, we are not taken care of by our mothers. We are not nurtured by them. Okay, we are pressed by them. We are oppressed by them, and then we are booted. Okay, and this is a lot of reasons why the women, once you meet them, once they're adults and start dating, and you meet them, they don't want to be told anything because we have endured verbal abuse for most of our lives. So anything that comes out as a commanding tone is seen as abuses because we've been talked to that way and it has been abusive. So we no longer want to hear any authoritative tones. Okay, a lot of black women take that as you are doing something wrong when a man takes an authoritative tone, even if he's not abusing, even if he's not doing any verbal abuse, okay? All right, so I just want to point out a few of these things for people who may miss them, especially the men. Since you grow up as boys in the house, you don't have the same experience that we do growing up in the same household, okay? So we'll grow up right next to you and we'll be having two very different experiences that create two different kinds of people. Because I think men are more capable of self-correcting because they have less emotional involvement. They can be broken. There are a lot of broken men walking around due to what they experienced when they were growing up. Okay. Some of them self-correct, some of them do not. All right. The women, because we're so emotional and emotionally driven, it is more difficult for us to overcome on our own. Many times we need an outside force to sort of change the direction, almost like damming a river. Okay. A river will flow freely. If you want to change the direction of a river, the river isn't going to change its direction on its own. You have to make it change. So you have to dam it and redirect that energy to something else, to another direction. And a lot of times women work that way. We need an outside external force or external ideology or external thing to interrupt that flow and redirect that energy to be more positive, or else we'll keep going in the negative direction that we were set. And we were set on that path as girls. Okay. So on to the video. So the video opens with a young lady and her mom are cussing each other out. And I mean, cursing each other out like two women on the street that don't know each other. Okay. And when we come to realize, the argument is that the mother is accusing the daughter of sleeping with the same men that she sleeps with, which is this competition that we're talking about. And the daughter is vehemently denying any of it. And she's also calling out the mother's insecurities for even addressing her with it. Okay. Now, many people who commented on the World Star Hip Hop site could only see the disrespect that the daughter was giving to the mother. Oh, she's cussing her mother out and, all of this kind of stuff. And so there goes that pathology that the mother is God, the black mother is God, and can never be disrespected or spoken to in certain terms, regardless of what she's doing. Now, rarely the people who were pointing out the disrespect of the daughter also were not pointing out the complete inappropriate conversation, argument, and thought pattern of the mother. Because what mother worth her salt, worth her womb, is talking to her daughter this way and about this subject? Why is this even a topic between a mother and a daughter? And I was raised by a woman who would be considered by us a flightless bird. Okay. But we never had that argument. It was just certain aspects that just didn't come about. We never had that argument of all of the ratchet happenings, and the crazy verbal barbs. That was never one of them. That was actually never one of them. Oh, you're screwing my man. Well, because first of all, the majority of my life, only my dad was around. Other men were not around. So my mom didn't keep a revolving door of men. She was married to my father, to our father. And so that's the only man that I had ever experienced growing up coming around was my dad. And living with us and stuff like that was my dad. Only after I was well into my adulthood and they divorced did she even have other men coming around her that we kind of was like, oh, okay, that must be like her little boyfriend or whatever. So that conversation actually never happened. But the young lady, which I can't blame for even the way in which she's talking, look who raised her. So we can't really blame the young lady for her behavior, her speech, her cursing, her not minding to speak to her mother in a certain way, because for this to even be an argument, her mother has inappropriate conversations with her anyway. Okay. So there are no boundaries. that have ever been drawn. And it's up to the mother to draw those boundaries, okay? And she never drew those boundaries. Now, while me and my mother never had that argument, she will have inappropriate conversations. So that's actually a little trait. A lot of flightless bird women who birth other girls will often not have boundaries and will have inappropriate conversations with their daughters. And so this is one. And so this is why the daughter is responding the way that she is, because there are no boundaries. There's nothing off limits. If your mother can come accuse you of screwing her boyfriend and you know you don't do that, but that's an insecurity in her mind, there have never been boundaries there. There have never been boundaries there, ever. So it's up to the parent to not only lay foundation for boundaries, but lay foundation for the respect factor to even come in. When you treat your children a certain way, they will respect you. If you do not create boundaries for them, they will not respect you, and they will cross those lines because you never made any solid lines for them to cross. So, or rather, you never made any solid boundaries that they could not cross. So they continue to argue. And the young lady is like calling out just how insecure her mother has to be in order for this to be a conversation for her. In order for this to even be something that she would say to her daughter. And then at the end of the video, which is the most important part to me, is she turns to the camera to speak to the viewer. The daughter does. And she says, then you wonder why we act the way we do. Because this is what we're being raised by. This is the environment we come from. And then you wonder why our behavior basically is the way that it is. Because of this kind of stuff. Like, if we come from this, what do you expect us to do? What do you expect? We're being raised by this. And she said it in a crude manner, but she's not wrong. She's 100% correct. Okay? This is the torment that the girls go through. This is not, I would love to say that this was uncommon, but this is 8 times out of 10. Okay? 7 or 8 out of 10 ghetto mothers do this to their daughters. Okay? All right? Grew up with other girls who were going through that same thing with their moms. As soon as we hit like puberty and our bodies start filling out and we start looking better than her and looking like a young version of her when she was 18 and she was 16 and she doesn't look like that anymore. You know, she'll do one of a few things. The one thing that she'll do is destroy a girl's self-confidence. Okay? She destroys that. Tells her she's ugly, tells her she's a whore, tells her, you know what I'm saying, that no one will want her because she's a whore, you know, and I know that's what you're gonna be, you know, and that's projecting because that's what she is. Okay? Many times that's what she is. So she projects her, you know, bad behavior that she knows she has engaged in onto her daughter. All right? And many times the daughter doesn't know where that's coming from or why her own mother would degrade her in this manner. Okay? So she's being degraded. She's being degraded by the very person that should be showing her femininity and her womanhood, should be teaching her how to behave as a woman in this world. And the sad part is she is teaching her how to behave as a woman. It's just dysfunctional. It's extremely dysfunctional what she's teaching her. She's teaching her everything, but she's teaching her all the wrong things. Okay? And hopefully that young lady will be able to move out of that toxic environment that she's in, and hopefully she can find, you know, some knowledge of self and some, you know, other knowledges that'll help heal her. She needs some therapy. She needs to get away from her mother. and she needs never to return. She needs now, as an adult, as a young adult, to draw the boundaries that were never drawn. She has to draw those boundaries now to save herself. I had to do it. I had to create boundaries to save myself, because I can't get better with this toxicity. I have to leave. And then not only do I have to leave your presence, then I have to rid myself of the toxic dysfunction that you have visited on me. Like, I have to get rid of that. And while I never had the money to actually go to a real therapist and talk about these issues, what helped re-socialize me was Islam. Because Islam actually makes you deal with the nature of everything, the nature of men, the nature of women, the nature of everything. And you have to actually deal with it and come to terms and accept what these natures are and what they mean, and then how to maneuver, how to control. And I'm going to bring up one more point, for the people who would say, well, there's no dad in the home. Where's the father? Ask the mother, where's the father? Does she even know who that young lady's father is? And if she does, why did she run him away? Because a lot of times we have these single mothers whose children are out of control. Now, even when fathers are present, mothers do the majority of the rearing of children, whether the father is present in the home or not. So when you make the argument that the children are out of control because the father is not there, what you are also saying is that the mother is out of control because a man is not there. Which means that women need to be corralled by men. Because if there's no male around to balance her and to corral her, she'll go off script. She'll go off the deep end, which a lot of these mothers do, because there is no man around to stop her from doing stuff like this. Because if there's a man in that house, that argument doesn't happen. If there's an actual man, a steady man, that girl's father or that woman's husband or whomever in that house, and he's not some type of simp or something like that, that argument never occurs, because he's gonna stop it before it even really gets started. And he's going to, upbraid the mother. What are you even saying? You see what I'm saying? These become non-issues and non-factors. So my point in saying that is that for those who, the father's not around, the father is not so much there to guide the children, which he is. His energy and his guidance is quite necessary for his children's balanced and good development. But he's also there to control that woman. He's there to control the mother, because she'll go way off the deep end. And many of these mothers do. And it's because there's no guy around that's not simping, that's willing to say, you better stop. What are you doing? Because even my mother, with the way that she behaved when my dad was around, there's a lot of stuff she didn't do, because she was afraid that we were going to tell him and there were going to be repercussions and consequences. And there were going to be repercussions and consequences. She was right to be apprehensive of that. Okay. So when he was consistently living with us, there a lot of little bootleg crazy stuff actually tampered down, because he wasn't going to have it. He wasn't having it. And he wasn't there every day, all day. He wasn't there to watch her. But she knew he was coming home at some point. And if she did something too bad, we were going to tell it. We were going to find some way to let him know that she's doing something to us. And she didn't want that smoke. She didn't want those kinds of problems. So he was there to corral her. He corralled her. Okay? And when he was gone, because they would separate and all that kind of stuff, he would be gone for extended amount of time. That's when the abuse would pick up. It would pick right on up, because he wasn't there and he wasn't coming, and you know what I'm saying, and all of that kind of stuff. And we were here with her all day, so it was less of a chance for us to tell because he couldn't really save us from her. So it would pick up because he wasn't there. And he wasn't there to control her. She was the one who needed controlling. You see? So I know that a lot of females do not like the words that I use: submission, corralling, controlling, because these are words that we typically use either for children or for pets, okay, or animals. But isn't that how you are behaving when you are out of control, like an animal? This mother in this video is worse than an animal. I've seen cat moms have more affection for their daughter, for their kittens. I've seen dog moms be better mothers. I've seen a host of animal moms be awesome moms. Better than these strags and these flightless birds. Much better. No contest. No contest. Because these animals are actually looking out for the best interest of their kittens, puppies, cubs, whatever. Okay? They're actually looking to, like a cat mom is actually looking out for her kittens. Why? Because she actually wants them to survive. And so she needs to teach them. She needs to keep them out of trouble. She needs to keep them out of danger. And she needs to teach them how to survive as a cat. What do cats do? Hunt. She needs to teach them how to hunt. You see what I'm saying? She needs to teach them how to stalk, how to use their senses, how to, she's teaching them. Okay? So she's interested in keeping them alive for this purpose. And a cat will attack the shit out of you for coming near her kittens or threatening them in any way. Dogs do the same. A dog, like most female animals, will attack the father. When the babies are really young, because the fear is that the father will cull. He'll cull the young. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes an animal father will cull like the runt of a litter. He'll kill it. And the mother doesn't want that. So when they're really small, really like just born, she does not allow the father to even see them. Only when they're old enough does she then introduce carefully her litter or whatever to the sire. And then she watches him to make sure he doesn't bring harm to them. Okay? Because her first interest is their survival, and she'll die to ensure it. She will attack that father and be killed. Okay? So I've seen animal moms be better mothers. You wenches, not even close. And this video, it proves it, because it's not a one-off. This is just what happens. This is what happens. This is how she's made. Okay? It's not only the socialization and the feminism and the gyne. It's not just that. She's experiencing firsthand trauma in her home as a child, never being given the tools to be the woman that she needs to be. She's never given those tools. Okay, it has to be taught. It is not innate. And she's not being taught properly. All right. I'm out, and I will see you guys later.